Hello and welcome to Politically Incorrect Knitters. My name is Ann Pinkava, joined as always by the lovely Deplorable Knitter.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. Sponsored by Lynn from Chicken Lady Fiber Arts, and she has beautiful, beautiful colorways like this bulky MCN PIK colorway, which is our colorway. This is our monthly giveaway, so if you're interested in having your own, it's very soft and lovely. You can comment on the episode to enter. And if you saw us opening her advent, you've seen this before, but this colorway, this is a little tiny mini skein of the Secret Garden, and it is beautiful and lovely. And I happen to see that she has this in her shop as full skeins. So if you want to get your own, you can use the code SNOW20PIK for 20% off your order and get beautiful things like Secret Garden, the PIK colorway. You know, if you're not sure you're going to win and you want one, go get it. Yeah, so that's that. Oh yeah, and I'm giving away a copy of my brioche pattern that goes with this, which I promised would be done this week, and it's not. So, hey, that's what happens. So I guess we can start off. I'll start off this week because I have this box from my friend Ann Pinkava, and look at this. Look at this box. Her mom mailed this, and look at all of these thing-ups on it. It's hilarious. My kids have decided they want to peel some off and play with them, which is fine.
Of course.
But,
I mean, it's always fun to mail things Molly Weasley style. So
it sure is. And it's really funny because I was telling Ann about it before we started. Look at this box. Look at, you can get right in there. It has been through some stuff. Look at, there's a hole right here all the way in. So I said, I hope nothing was breakable because man, it would be bad. But so this is my Christmas gift, I assume, from Ann. And full disclosure, I still haven't sent hers. So please don't judge me. It'll happen.
Hey, do not worry about it because as we can see, it's well into January. So
yeah, but still.
I am not good with getting stuff out on time.
I'm usually better, but ooh. This is Prairie Spun Brown Sheep Company. Look at how pretty this is. It's very, oh, sorry, I was reading the label. It's called Huckleberry Pie. It's like a pretty purpley kind of color. And it's really, this is like in the wheelhouse of like all the colors I've been gravitating towards lately. So that's very fantastic. Thank you. Let's see. And then there's Hokkaido Milk Caramel. Is that what it's called? Never heard of it.
I think it's Hokkaido, but
oh yeah, that would make more sense, wouldn't it? Cool. I dropped something. Dear Anna and Amy, thank you. Bath bombs. Oh, this is a little something from Lynn, I guess.
yes. Yes, so that isn't a part of the gift. That is
okay. 3. This is from Lynn, has nothing to do with my gift, but it's 3 beautiful green mini skeins that are lovely. So that's excellent.
Yes, that she sent a set to me and then had another set in there to send along to you, and that I was finally getting around to it.
Oh, cool. Oh, look, it's another skein of Huckleberry Pie. Cool.
There should be 3 in the box unless somebody stole one.
Nope, there's 3. Excellent. Thank you, Ann. And then I got my very own pair of Ann Pinkava socks. What the what?
Yay!
They're so pretty. Thank you.
Yeah,
they're
socks
very lovely.
Pretty.
And they have pink heels and toes, and I love them. And I can wear these in my giant Doc Martens.
Perfect.
Which is awesome. Oh, thank you, Ann.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate it. Cool. So in another month or so, Ann will have hers to open.
Exactly.
That'd be
Gotta
fun.
keep the suspense going.
Right? So do you want to show your knitting first or should I?
Oh, sure, I will. Because I only have the one thing, which I did show off on Knitting Wars with Devry Metcalf was on with us. She was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. If you missed it, you should check out the episode from this past Tuesday, which was what, January 9th? Something like that. It was fun.
But anyways, so quick recap in that I was working on we were talking with Devry Metcalf and I was talking about Devin Ventry's sweater. And in my mind, the two names kind of meld together. I'm like, no, keep them apart. Anyways, the Benedicta sweater and all of that. And even though I still want to do that sweater, I decided to throw all caution to the wind and knit what in the end I really wanted to do, which is another Quinn's quilt, but in 4 times the size.
Yeah, except giant.
Yes. And I didn't say then, but there is a little bit of guilt around this. I'm not gonna lie, because it is so much yarn and I am using, mostly the good wool. That is one of those things of, oh, but if I sat there and I thought about it, I could probably do some sweaters, like some colorwork sweaters, or I could do some garments with this, or, that there is a little bit of, oh, but you're just kind of throwing this away towards a big quilt. Why are you doing that?
Well, I don't really do resolutions, right? But I saw somebody saying something that was like, don't save the good stuff. Burn the candle, use the good yarn, whatever it is that you're holding on for someday that it's going to be the right time, just use it. And
Right.
So I get what you're saying about it, but you make a lot of sweaters anyway. You don't have to make every sweater quantity of yarn into a sweater. And if you want to have a 10-foot quilt made out of the good wool, then do it. It's your thing.
I know. And like I said before, like this entire thing is like, oh, but that is silly and foolish. It's going to be way too big. But then I'm knitting this and I'm like, oh, but Daddy, I love him. Like, look at this. there's no sense or good reason to this. It's just like, no, I want the big ocean colors, tweedy, like, oh, this stuff right here. I don't know if you recall that a while back I was hand spinning yarn for a sweater. And okay, first off, the texture on it was kind of weird anyways. But secondly, I didn't think that there'd be enough stuff there to make the sweater. And I ended up pulling it out and making a pink sweater of the same pattern. So yeah, pulled that out for my quilt. That's going in there and stuff like that, where it's like,
my mom, but my mom is a spinner and she does not knit very often with her own stuff because I think there's like a kind of like, what do you do with it? Is there enough to make something? And so I'm all for it. I'm all for using the good stuff. I really am.
But yes,
you're worth it.
It's all of that. And I mean, I'm patching stuff together when I run out of wool, and like the other one ends originally that you have 10 different colors and you figure out the quilt pieces and everything. And this time I'm just like, I have a general color palette and I'm doing the edge ones in the sort of same colors that they're supposed to be, because I'll do the border. That I have one color set aside for that. And I think I'll center it up so that there'll be a star in the middle that will be the proper colors. But the rest of them, I'm not planning them out. They're just going to be random all around that.
I think it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, so I'm keeping it to kind of oceany, kind of cottagey colors, but besides that, I'm not overthinking it. And yeah, just kind of running. And like I said, I love it. Makes me happy.
I think that that's a big part of it. If you're not loving what you're making, maybe it's not for you. Just saying. Yeah. But I don't want to be a downer. I'm just saying.
I know. Sometimes you have to remember that we really do knit for the fun of it.
Right. I mean, it's always great to like have something that you're working on that's hard. I'm not saying don't do the hard things, but I'm also saying like if it's just a slog, if it's I want to have the joy that Anne has in that blanket when I knit anything, like for real, because sometimes I'll be like, dude, is this project done yet? Like it should be happier. It should be like, that quilt has grown exponentially in the 2 days since I've seen it. I can tell.
I've done most of this block, which is, I just started the edge while we were talking. I don't know. It's big. It's going to be huge. And because I'm doing patchwork, this also means that I could add extra rows in, but I've just started my new row of color and I have 8 strands here, which is always surprising. Yeah. Which, is already unyieldy and they're not even tangled yet. So like I said last time, I never said that I loved this project because it was sensible. So just put that right out of your mind.
I'm happy about it. Your happiness about it is making me very happy about your blanket. I can't wait to see it done. Or, that square done. Because it's going to be big. It might take a while.
It's going to take a while, but still, it makes me happy.
Very cool.
Anyways, what you working on?
Well, first I'll start with the little things. I have 2 little squares for Afghan. If you guys have been watching for a while, you might remember that when I had my surgery last November, well, 2 Novembers ago now, a lady from a knitting group made me a blanket. And my mom had surgery like the same year, the year before that, I don't even remember, but she made her a blanket. And that's part of what she does. She makes all these blankets for everybody. So the group has come together and everybody's making 2 squares and we're sending them to one person who's going to assemble them all. And then she's going to get a blanket because she makes blankets for everybody. So, it's just a fun little thing. So I whipped up 2 squares this week. And then nice. I have this bag. See this bag? It's this big. It's huge. It's ginormous. And it is full of a rainbow. Can you see it?
Nice.
12 skeins of yarn in there because I am prepping for my co-op classes. And so, my crochet class is learning different stitches. And what better way to learn different stitches than to make a ginormous rainbow blanket?
Of course. Wow, that's grown a lot too.
Yeah. I'm not complaining about my family because I love them, but if things had been calmer, it would be bigger because I've been wanting to work on it and then stuff keeps happening where I can't. But oh wait, I'm holding it upside down. How about I try it again? Here's the top. Not that you guys would have known, but there's a stitch on here. Let's see, it starts off with like granny squares and single and double crochet. And then there's double crochet rows in between everything. And then what's this one? This is a stacked granny. It's kind of hard to see in the darker colors. And then there's double crochet. And this is the zipper, the big zipper. Can you see the zipper on there? Kind of fun. Yeah. And then these are shells. And then this one they called filling the gap. I don't know technically what that is, but it's pretty. And so it's a lot of fun. And I started with a pattern and pretty much immediately I decided that's not how it's going to be. And I've rewritten most of it. I'm going to have to rewrite a pattern for the class, which is good because now I'm not using somebody else's pattern for my class anyway. But and they don't have things in there that I wanted, like bobbles and, just some different stitches that I want the kids to learn. They had like 6 double crochet rows in between each motif. And I'm like, you know what? These girls are not going to do 6 double crochet rows. And I started off doing 2 double crochet rows, but I think in the end, it's going to be a single crochet, a double crochet, and then the pattern. And then, so that they're getting good at those stitches also because they are the foundation of most of what you're doing. I mean, some crochet is crazy, but a lot of the stitches are a combination of single, double, triple, so.
Yep.
But yeah, so I'm pretty excited about it, and I'm showing it to you, and this is just half of it. And so like, yeah, I'm going to totally change the cast on because the girls are never going to make a twin size blanket. They're not going to want to. They don't. I mean, I'm working with like 10 to 14-year-olds. They want something that they can finish kind of quickly. It's a 10-week class. I hope by the end of the 10-week class, it'll be big enough to be like a lap blanket. They can keep working on it if they want to. It's going to be that kind of a project. So
Right.
it's a lot of fun. So that's what I've been doing. So I was really excited to show you my knitting, but in reality, all I had to show you was my crochet. But still, it's been a lot of fun.
Right.
And I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say that, that I think I've said it before, but anytime that I've wanted to learn a new skill in knitting, like when I was just beginning, knitting and purling, well, I made a big checkered blanket, and it was like a tent. It was stupid. But also that, well, after knitting that tent, boy, could I knit and purl quickly. That
Right.
it's good that for any skill that's like, all right, you're just doing a big blanket, just go.
Yeah. And I know some of the girls weren't thrilled about doing the blanket, which is why I picked these colors, because I think that's making it a lot more fun. Every row is different. And I don't even think I'm going to have them weaving their ends. I'm thinking about just doing tassels on the sides, just little, not even fringe in every loop, but like a tassel every so often, so that they're maybe of all the colors, like just put them on there, loop them on so that it makes sense. And me, even being the teacher, I've got a spot in my blanket where it's not straight. See, there's a dip right here. So, it's a blanket. It doesn't matter. Or maybe we'll do a single crochet border around the edge and we'll just single crochet in all those ends, or whatever. It's not a big deal.
Perfect. Just kind of hide that in. Don't think about it.
Right. I mean, because theirs probably will be wonky. So maybe we'll put a border on them. But either way, so I'm having a lot of fun doing this. And I think it'll be great to have, co-op's 10 weeks. So every week they're going to have a double crochet and a stitch section they're going to have to complete. And we'll see how they do. I hope that they, like I said, if they get it done, even if it's not huge, even if it'll be a cool project, and it's something that they can work on when they feel like it. Because I'm pretty sure that the pattern I started with had them repeat each of the motifs like 2 or 3 times. So maybe we'll do the first repeat on our own in class, and then they'll have the resources to do it on their own. But anyway, and hopefully next week I'll have my projects for my knitting class to show you, because I've been thinking about that, and I think I'm ready. I think I'm almost there, so it's fun.
Nice.
But one thing at a time. I gotta get this done so I can send it to my co-teacher, because she wants to make it too. Because then that way it's easier to help the kids. So that's the story. But yeah. And I was telling my husband's like making fun of me for making this giant rainbow blanket. I'm like, you better be nice to me, because he's the one out of our whole family who like loves to lay on the couch with a blanket. I'm like, so it's probably going to be yours when it's all done. So stop whining. Be nice.
And I like how you have the rainbow in it too. I mean, the stripes have it keep interest, but it kind of reminds me of that Anna knitter. She did a Vlogmas thing, and she had a big blanket that she had in Christmas colors. I think it was like a dark green and a light green, and then a dark red and a lighter red, and white in there. And that she had the repeat. Again, I don't crochet and I don't remember, what her actual patterns were, but the repeat was every other one, but because it was 5 different colors in a stripe, it was a different color showing up with the pattern, each time, so that there was a difference from the last white stripe and the next white stripe because of the crochet thing. So that's cool there too, that you get to see how the stitches, behave with different colors too. So that's neat.
Yeah, I want them to see it and go, because I know that she may not have even signed up, because I haven't gotten my class list yet, but there's one girl who's like, I don't want to make a big project. I want something that I can be done with quick. And I want them to see this bright, big, pretty blanket and be like, I want to make that. That's really cool. So
Right.
I hope that, you know, like I said, they're kids. They can
Yep.
do it, but getting them to do it is sometimes not the easiest thing to do. So it's hard to
Right.
say. But you know, so yeah, it's pretty that I'm actually really stoked about it. And I don't make blankets. I think in all the time we've done this show, 2 years ago, 2 Christmases ago, I made my mother-in-law a blanket. I probably talked about that on the show, but other than that, I don't remember. So yeah, it's not my thing. I'm not Anne. I am not the blanket maker. Anne's like, forget the 2 sweater challenge. Anne will be fine because she'll just be like hoboing around with like her 10-foot blanket wrapped around her like I was gonna say a kind of like a robe. I bet you could get a hood out of that and a belt and armholes and you'll be good to go.
So we have this, now I'm going to forget her name. So we have this statue, which is right by, I am losing all of the key points of the story. It is a statue and it's actually right by this rest stop in South Dakota. You get license plates with her and her name's like, I think her name is Dignity. And it's this big Native American lady. And she has this big quilt that she is holding up behind her. So it'd be literally that. And there's like cutouts in the metal on the quilt and, you know, she's lovely. And, you know, between the actual rattlesnake warnings about walking around that area and the fact that it's this lovely statue just right next to a rest stop. But no, she's really cool to see. She's neat and all, but I'll just be sitting here like Dignity, though we always call her Destiny, Destiny, no avoiding that for me from Young Frankenstein. So you got to have your local landmarks. There's not much to see when you're driving across the state.
That's funny. I remember you telling me about her. I looked her up. She's kind of cool.
She is very cool. Like, you know, if we're ever near, you know, we do stop by and see it because it's a very, very cool statue. But maybe one of these days I'll have my quilt with and I can do a matching photo.
Yeah, no, but Anne, no matter how cold these winters get, Anne and her family are going to be fine because from what I understand, they all enjoy blankets.
Yes, well, who doesn't?
Right, right. But
yeah. And like I said, I mean, it's always good to have different projects. It's nice to have the project that you can bring with you anywhere. It's nice to have the project where you're like focused and you're doing new things and, you know, you can really dig into it. But I like having a garter stitch blanket on the go. Like, it's just, not a lot of thought, just go, go, go.
But after Tuesday, so on Tuesday, Anne was talking about this blanket and how big it is. And we were teasing her talking about like, she needs one of those, you said you needed one of those pulley carts, right? Like you see the ladies with their shopping. And I suggested maybe one of those collapsible wagons that you see people with sometimes. And so this is what I get from teasing you, right? Because now I've got this duffel bag with all my yarn in it. I had it set up on my coffee table, but then nobody else could use the coffee table. So I got the canvas bag out and all my skeins are standing up so I can just pull. When it's that turn, I just pull. It's going to be a knot soon.
You know, okay. I am seriously considering investing in like a nice big, like slightly fancy looking, so I can, you know, sit it next to a couch and it's not too much of a thing, either like a wicker basket or like a big canvas basket, you know, to throw all my yarn in for this. I think that'd work.
That would be nice.
I mean, it'd be
pleased
sitting
with it.
laundry basket in your living room, but
so
anyways.
So you were speaking about that statue, right? And yes. So it's a good segue for me to go into the talk about the statue here. Did you hear that there's a proposal from a Republican, no less, to put a bust of President Zelensky in the Capitol permanently?
For all of his bravery of Zoom calling out of his basement?
I guess so. And, you know, it totally makes sense to me as an American citizen that we would want to have a bust of a dictator in our Capitol building.
Yeah. It's like, it's really charming how he shuts down political dissidents. I mean, that's makes perfect sense.
It's just really strange, isn't it?
It is. It is. And, you'd think that the whole Zelensky worship thing has gone on for long enough.
Yeah, I think some people are starting to finally see that he's not that cool anymore, which is good.
Mhm.
It's taken, a year too long, but what are you gonna do? I mean,
Well,
we're all naive at some points in our life, and you got to do your best to overcome it and move on.
yeah. And it's not as if, being invaded by Russia is a good thing. Like, certainly
Oh
not.
no,
But it's like,
no, I don't
look,
think anybody says that, but
he takes all of the money everyone sends him and then invests it into crypto. Like, you would think that there would be more direct use for that in a war zone.
right, right. But you can't ask him where it all went.
Yeah.
So
I mean, seriously though, and think if it was, sending money for any other supposed good cause. If like somebody you knew had cancer and you're like, oh man, you should send me money for hospital bills. And you were like, oh, okay, I will. And they got in a lot of donations. And they're like, yeah, so I took some of that money, I invested it. You'd be like, I'm sorry, I sent this for medical expenses. If you, had like other necessary expenses, that would make sense, but you wouldn't, you'd be kind of like, maybe we should stop sending this person money if they had so much extra that they can then,
right.
invest it or do something like that. You'd be like, I think we're probably done here.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's really funny. And so we've been sending him so much stuff that I've heard a rumor, and this was in passing, so it could be untrue, but we're running out of our own weapons to defend our country because we continue to send them to him, which I am not a politician. I am a knitter. Not, not getting the big bucks here, but I don't think that's how this works. Like, I don't think that that's a good plan to just
Right.
continuously send your stuff to a guy who's just like, hey, whatever. No, it's all good.
Yeah.
Who's probably selling it on the black market, right? Like,
Yeah, there has been
since we
some
can't find
stories
it.
of it coming up. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
where'd all these weapons go? Oh no.
So yeah, that's happening. How about the fact that they want to ban gas stoves? Have you heard that one?
I have. And it's one of those stories that Biden comes out with the thing and he's like, yeah, we're banning gas stoves because they're bad for you. And it's so stupid that it's like, surely no one is taking him seriously. Surely this is just a media buzz. This is, today's thing to be upset by. This is that no one's actually going to consider this proposal. And then all of a sudden there's like news stories about, yeah, gas stoves are bad for you all the time. I'm like, how?
Yeah, I don't
Like
know.
how is everyone's on the same page and it's instant? And I mean it's one of those things where it's very quick and easy to go out there and refute it, and it's stupid and the memes are great and everything, but it's like, why? Why are you so ridiculous? And again, okay, I live in frozen tundra. All right. It sucks here. But just like with electric vehicles, and oh, isn't this great to be like, sometimes the power goes out. It does because it ices up here and the electrical lines go down and there's issues, and extreme temperatures will do that to you. So you're saying that things like burning gas, one of the things that function well when there is no power, like if there's no power in your house and you have a gas stove, you can still cook food. You can, even if the water lines don't often go out either unless they freeze at the pump station themselves. But should the water line go out at your house and you still have a gas stove, you could boil snow, for drinking water. You could do all these things. You could, still have warm food. And if you have like a fireplace in your house, you can keep warm and survive. And it's all of the things that they're trying to ban.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're allowed to have gas fireplaces here, or they're trying to say you can't have them in new builds. We have a gas fireplace. And they also don't want you to have wood burning stoves either, because it's bad for the environment. And it's like, but what? Okay, so you want us to use electric for everything, like all the stuff. Where does the electric come from? Yeah. What makes the electric that we use? Like nobody's like taking a step back and being like, well, we do all these things to get the electric to the house. Nope, don't worry about that.
Yeah. And then everyone charging their cars and like, oh no, it's using too much electricity. Oh, really? If only you had listened to literally anyone, you could have seen this coming.
Right. And as a electric car owner, we didn't buy it because we thought we were like going to save the planet. We bought it because it was cheaper than buying a gas car at the time. So like we did it for those kinds of reasons, but it's weird, especially since we own one. It's weird for me to be like, I hate this electric car thing, but we didn't buy it because we thought we were doing something good. We bought it because it made sense for our family. Does that, you know what I mean? So like, I'm against electric cars in general. For us, they work for what we use it for, so it's fine. But like this whole mandating that like everybody needs one, but you don't know what everybody does. Somebody might commute 100 miles, but then again, that's because they don't want you to commute 100 miles anymore. They want you to live in your bubble, like in England. You can only leave your bubble twice a month, whatever it is. It's like twice a week. I'm sure that our fact checker that always comes in comments will let me know I was wrong. But it's, they want to put smart meters on our houses now. I don't want a smart meter. You know what a smart meter is going to do? They're going to turn me off when they decide I've used too much. I don't want, yeah. Sorry, but it just makes me crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's an entire mentality based on your betters know better for you than you do about your own life. You can't be trusted with the freedom to do things you like, especially, if the freedom is anything from take a long drive in the country or use your toaster too often. Not cool, right. Not allowed. Do you like a wood stove? Nope, not cool. Are you going to, take a long bath every single night of the week because you want to with the hottest water you can? Oh, I'm so sorry. That's not allowed. It's like that you're not allowed to do things to, that you enjoy because of some nebulous good that is also unproven.
Right. Well, and the thing like with the smart meters that gets me is that they are saying, oh, well, since COVID, we've had trouble getting people to read the meters, blah, blah, blah. My husband was watching this news story with me. He goes, our meter's on the outside of our house. I had to call it in. Nobody came to look at our meter on the outside of our house. They were saying like, oh, we can't get into people's houses because of COVID and different issues. And that's why we need these smart meters. He's like, no, they're not doing their job. They're doing their job very poorly. And so now because of that, they want to implement this thing that is going to like creep on us. It doesn't make sense. That you doing your job poorly does not mean we need a smart meter. It means that you need to do your job better. Like, I don't know. Ugh. Dumb. I'm really mad about those, by the way, if you can't tell. Because I know that it's just one more step. Like everybody's got those Nest home systems where you can like control everything from your phone. No, I don't want one because you're going to turn my shit off when I don't want you to, when I have my air on too low or my heat up too high or any other thing that I want to do in my own house.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. Well, it's like the little what are they called, the robot vacuum cleaners.
Oh yeah, the Roomba.
Yes, the Roomba. That there was this little thing saying that, oh, by the way, those are selling your information. They're like, oh, they're hooked in with smart everything and they're connected to the internet. I'm like, okay, even if you're like, okay, sure, my phone knows all of my little personal habits, nobody has a right to all of your little personal habits. They don't.
Right.
And it's valuable information to somebody because it's sold. And we're kind of cavalier with the, oh, yeah, sure. Who cares if, somebody else knows that I like to keep my thermostat at this temperature during the day or this during the night, or leave it on at 85 at all hours. That, what does that really matter? It's like, yeah, but nobody needs to know that.
Yeah.
It's,
It's disturbing.
yeah, there's no presumed right to privacy.
Hmm. I well, as you all know, I'm a house cleaner by trade, and so when everybody was getting the like robot vacuums, I'm like, dude, this is gonna be bad for business. Like,
I
if you don't need me to vacuum your house, what is gonna happen?
So my brother had both a robot vacuum cleaner and a husky, and that was the most pathetic little machine because it would like it got filled with dog hair so quickly, and it would make like these sad beeping noises. And it would get caught on stuff, and it'd get like cords and stuff wrapped around it, and you'd have to go rescue it. And if you were running it at all, like you had to sit there and you had to like gingerly pick it up and flip it on its back and empty it out. Like, this is more of a, this is a pet. This is not a vacuum cleaner. If I actually wanted to vacuum the house, it would take so much less time than letting this thing run and having to go help it every once in a while.
It's funny. I think they've gotten better though. Like from what I understand, they are getting better. I mean, obviously they're selling everybody's information. They must be learning from it.
I know. They're learning robots. I, for one, welcome our robot overlord vacuum cleaners.
Never let you say that. He is convinced that we're worried about all the wrong things, and someday it's going to be the overtaking of the AI, and we're going to be just crushed by it. And I'm like, well, that's really disturbing. So thanks, thank you, honey.
I know. Well, even like we said before with Papa Elon, love what you're doing for Twitter. Not so much a fan of the monkeys with the chips in their brains. Way against that. But he's like, yeah, he's launching his own internet called Starlink, which is very much Skynet from Terminator. It's like, oh, this is great. This is the Skynet system. No, Starlink.
Yeah, no, I don't want it. Thank you, but no, thank you.
I know. I'm getting more and more, firm in my belief that literally everybody should watch original Captain Kirk Star Trek. Everybody. It's like, part of a classical education, part of a cultural education for every single child. You need this. Why? Because sometimes the robot goes evil, and sometimes you have to talk about the principle of why the robot going evil is the right thing. And also just like the bare necessity of you need just this much imagination, just a little bit of imagination for the kiddos so they don't say stupid things like, we should solve wars by computer. I think that will work well. No. And also, it already happened on Star Trek. Like, everybody, just the basics of just a little bit of sci-fi dystopia, just to know why things could go horribly wrong. I think that would help the population at large.
Well, I'm going to write down that I need to incorporate that into my curriculum for this coming spring semester here, because I've also never seen it. I wonder if there's any teaching resources on Teachers Pay Teachers about how to use Star Trek to teach your students.
Exactly. No, you should have it along with the logic fallacies class and the, reasoning and debate. Because, I mean, Star Trek, it's space cowboys, but also it's very much okay, so we have principles, and, the people on the crew of the Enterprise have principles. So you are thrown into a new situation with something totally bizarre. What if there is a space nebula and it's a woman and it's in love with this scientist? Well, how are you going to react to this? That's totally weird. But how do your principles and your moral standards hold up when you're suddenly confronted with, and there's Abraham Lincoln for no reason? you know
I have to watch this now just because.
no, a lot of it you're like, this is stupid and ridiculous, and you put a cardboard horn on that dog and said it was an alien. But on the other hand, you have, there's an episode where they're back in time, and there's this lady, and she's really nice and she's really sweet and she's an idealist. And it turns out that because they went back in time, Hitler came to power, and they're like, crap, how did that happen? How did he take over the world? And it turns out that he took over the world because this lady was a part of some peace league, and that gave him an opening. So people were more bamboozled, like Poland wasn't a good enough warning for, he wouldn't keep his word or whatever. But anyways, so because all of this happens, basically they have to let her be hit by a car. That they change the past by not letting her get hit by a car, but they do. And the end of the episode, they're all like, we're not sure that was right, and let's go home, haha. But it asking yourself questions like that, even though, sure, it's stupid, it's a TV show, it's laughs, it's all cardboard and Christmas lights, but just entering that into your kind of thinking of, all right, let's question things a little bit, even if we're questioning things about our world in a context that isn't our world, is something more fantastical. Sci-fi and fairy tales and different stuff like that, you need that just little bit of creativity to sort of get your mind moving in other directions. Anyways, there's my rant for today. Kirk is the best captain. We're out.
Well, I don't think we need to talk about anything else. I mean, we've gotten the reason why we should watch Star Trek, and now we should all go home and watch some Star Trek. I mean, right?
Yes,
isn't that the answer?
That's the answer. Anyways, there's actually things about, what the House of Representatives is passing. But anyways, sorry, that's my rant for the day.
Yeah, no, let's talk about the House. Or do you want to talk about the classified documents first?
Briefly about the House, because I know that this is kind of last week's news, but we were talking about it because McCarthy hadn't been voted in Speaker when we had our last episode, and about them debating back and forth. And it seems that part of McCarthy going through as Speaker is that they passed a very specific set of rules, which were very cool. And these rules include, sorry, I gotta look at my list, that any member can call for a motion to vacate the Speaker's chair. A McCarthy-aligned super PAC won't spend money on open Republican primaries and safe seats. So there was that problem with all of the money sent on DeSantis and none of the money spent on the guy in Arizona who would have needed it. And speaking of Arizona, there's something there too. But the House will hold votes on balanced budget amendment, congressional term limits, border security, and others. So that's pretty cool. Raising the debt ceiling must be paired with spending cuts, which I think is pretty good, even though that doesn't, for example, if they're like, yeah, well, we're raising the budget ceiling so we can, spend more on Zelensky statues, and we're cutting spending other places, you're still spending stupid money. But again, right direction. And then let's see, there's moved 12 appropriation bills individually. It says instead of passing separate bills to fund government operations, that doesn't quite make sense between each other. Anyways, but that the spending bills there's a process for them to be more thoroughly looked through. So, and also the House voted to rescind the 70 billion in IRS funding to hire 87,000 new agents. So
Yes,
that's
which is
pretty neat too.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is Nadler in the house? Jerry Nadler? I think he is. He used to hang out with Pelosi.
Right. I believe he is.
Well,
Jerry Nadler, the guy. Sorry, I am a child,
I know.
but still the guy who it definitely looks like he pooped himself on camera. You can't find that video without like weird noises in the background anymore. I think they scrubbed it, but it's an awesome video, and one day it will come to light. Sorry, Jerry Nadler.
Yes. So if you want to something, you can see Jerry Nadler pooping his pants on TV. But there was a bill that they were talking about in the House, I believe. I didn't write down which one it was, sorry. But there's a new bill about like, hey, if you're trying to abort a baby and it survives, you need to give it medical attention, right? Mm-hmm. And so I got to listen to this guy talk about why that's a bad idea. And I just, like, we're not even trying to pretend that we're good people, but no, we're just like out in the open being like, nope, we don't want to save those babies. He said it doesn't provide anything new for the rights of the babies. So like, it's not worth it in that way. And then he also said it's not appropriate to mandate medical care in certain circumstances. And I'm like, but if you're trying to abort a baby and it comes out alive, isn't it going to need medical care? And then there were all of these convoluted arguments about like, oh, well, what if the hospital's hours away? I don't understand what one has to do with the other. If you're trying to abort a baby and it is born alive, okay, excuse me. If you're trying to kill a baby and it is born alive, why wouldn't it go to the hospital? Yeah. Are they trying to say like, oh, if you're too far from the hospital, then it's okay to just let it die? Like, I don't understand.
Right. And
I don't understand it.
Again, hi from the sticks here. I don't think there is an abortion facility anymore in South Dakota. I think they're all gone. There might be like one. Okay. Mm-hmm. But even so, abortion facilities aren't known for being out in the middle of nowhere, that they're normally in highly populated areas by design. So are you saying that in some, again, most abortion facilities being in large cities, are you saying that they're and it's impossible to go to a hospital in a large city? Is that the complaint?
No, I think that, and granted, I need more information on this. I just saw a few clips about it, but I think it has more to do with like those. Have you not seen all of the ads for the abortion pill now? You can get it in all 50 states. Woohoo! Keep it in your medicine cabinet just in case that pesky little baby gets in there.
Yeah, and especially since the risk to okay, so abortion, 100% kill rate, but also the medical risk to the mother is much higher with a chemical abortion than with a regular the other
they're
procedure.
Talking about how great it is and stuff.
The other procedure is also not risk-free, not counting the baby. Again, an issue, but
right. But I wonder if part of it is because they're really pushing those pills for it, that they're saying like, oh, if it doesn't work completely, you need to seek medical care, and then I guess that's a burden on the woman who's trying to kill it. I don't know the whole story. Fact checker, you can let me know. But I can't imagine standing in front of a thing, and I don't know anything about Jerry Nadler. He's an old dude. I assume he's probably got family. I assume he probably had kids at some point and grandkids and stuff. And so to be like, hey, it's all right. We don't want those babies to have medical rights. What? Like, I don't even get how these people can be like thinking that this is a good plan. Anyway. And then I guess the last thing, because we're running long. President Biden has been found with classified documents in a closet at the Penn Biden Center. And he's also been found with classified documents stored in a garage with his Corvette.
And I look, okay, so the stupid Maverick sunglasses the guy has, and he always walks around like, yeah, I'm so cool. It's like, there's classified documents in my garage. Yeah, but it's next to my Corvette. What?
Yeah, I did not see the clip, but my mother told me that he pushed the word Corvette into it an ungodly amount of times. I was like, well, maybe if you have a Corvette, it's important that you mention it as much as possible. I don't know. I've never had one.
I don't
maybe
know.
If I got one, I would have to say it all the time.
It's not that Corvettes aren't fancy cars, but also thinking all of the money that's come in for the big guy, believe me, he can afford more. Don't try to be all American with the Corvette.
Or something.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a reason that it's a big deal. But I'm probably going to get flack for this because, she's a Black woman. But God, I can't stand his press secretary.
Oh, gosh.
Every time she opens her mouth, she's lying. That lying. How do you know she's lying? Because she's talking. That's her. And she's like mean while she's doing it.
She is. And everything it's like, hey, why does everything suck? It's like, you're wrong. It doesn't suck. And it's also your fault that it sucks. And you're like, but.
Right. So, what's his name? Peter Ducey. Isn't that the kid's name? Yeah. So Peter Ducey, he's a Fox News correspondent. He was hurt. You could hear him in the background saying, hey, so why is this different than the Trump thing? And her response was, well, because his lawyers did the right thing and they notified the authorities. He did the right thing. She said the right thing, like, you're so dumb. Obviously, he did the right thing.
Yeah,
dude.
The right thing is taking classified documents. When you're not the president has the right to declassify documents. The vice president does not. You get perks with the big job. And also that Trump had it locked in an office and the FBI knew he had the documents in the office locked. And he said, hey, is there anything else I should do for the protection of these documents? And they said, nah, man, they're locked in your office. This is the conversation that he had with the authorities that be the entire time he had these documents. And you're like, oh, but it's next to my Corvette, and the glow of the Corvette just purifies all
force field.
Yeah.
There's a force field around the Corvette. People cannot enter it, so it's fine.
But anybody who would be like, hey, I'm in the Biden's garage, wonder if they have any like cool classified documents, they'd be like, whoa, a Corvette, and totally forget every time.
So that's exactly what I was going to say, though, is that the vice president has no authority to declassify documents. So the fact that he had them is actually worse than Trump. But my husband and I, we've been watching the news in the morning together lately, and we were watching like a regular channel, like, ABC or CBS. And so they're talking about it and they're like, oh, but this is totally different than Trump. Like he and I are watching it and they're like, oh, classified documents were found. And then like the next breath is, but this has nothing to do with Trump. It's totally different. And it's like, but it's worse. I think it's worse. And then the part that I love the most about it all is that, okay, so the Penn Biden Center is at what? The University of Pennsylvania?
I believe so. But...
Yeah, it's at Penn. Whatever's Pennsylvania University goes by Penn, it's where it is, which is probably all of them. But he's got the Biden Center at this university, where about half of their money that they get is from independent donors in China. CCP, $60 million to that university. You can't tell me that those documents that were randomly in that office all alone weren't being like peddled. Like, it sure seems like that would be a money-making thing to me.
Yes, and there is it is a huge effort by China and Chinese organizations for different, again, Chinese professors, that sort of Chinese propaganda essentially is very much so pushed in schools through funding, through different scientific departments. Just the copyright theft alone that happens from Chinese actors in universities is just astounding. And they're like, oh, well, it's okay because it was in the Penn Center here and it's all Chinese money. And there's also like with the Confucius Institutes that again, it was Chinese learning, but it was also Chinese funding into private schools around England as well. So having that sort of pro-China drive, yeah, it's concerning, and it has been concerning for a while.
Yeah, but you know what? They did the right thing.
Oh, did the right thing.
Just asked for whatever that chick said. But then the part that I love the most that I hadn't even really realized about was that they discovered this before the midterms, but they didn't make it public, which therefore means that they were working to affect the outcome of the election.
Every time.
And the reason I know that is because Harmeet Dillon, who is a fantastic knitter, was talking about it. And she was talking about the need for a special counsel to look into this. Because if they got one on Trump, we need to push for one to why does Biden have these things? Oh, and the guy's got like all of these houses and stuff just keeps turning up. So probably we need to like send out raids like they did to Mar-a-Lago to find out where else he has documents just randomly. I mean, just in case the force field around the Corvette is not enough.
Exactly.
But
yes, I hope that Harmeet Dillon is the next RNC chair. That's like more knitting representation is what we need.
Another conservative knitter out in the forefront is exactly what we need. And every time she's on Tucker Carlson, she has a fantastic sweater on that she's made herself. And I love that about her. Yeah, if she was the RNC chair, she wouldn't have enough sweaters probably to wear them all the time. We'd probably have to see other things.
She had something on her Twitter where she was like, yeah, guys, I have to, put aside my knitting. I'm going to do this. And that it was her thing that, again, Gal's a lawyer at a very high level and she's a part of all these committees, but her thing was that she knits a sweater every month. She's like, okay, I wasn't able to knit a sweater this month. I'm like, wow.
Maybe after all that high level stuff, she's like, dude, I need a relax, a release.
I know. And it's like, maybe, again, end of the day, it's nice to knit. Just sit down, make yourself a sweater, look fabulous on Tucker Carlson. It's perfect.
I kind of want to be Harmeet when I grow up, but probably not going to happen. That's okay. At least with the knitting goals, maybe that's where I'm aspiring to. I have no desire to be in charge of the Republican Party. That sounds horrible to me.
Maybe that should be the next, 2 sweater challenge. It's just the knit yourself a sweater nice enough to wear on Tucker Carlson challenge. Just in case we're ever asked,
Yeah. Always got to have one in our closet so we can be like Harmeet someday. I'm a fan of that. Let's do it.
Okay. Good plan. Good talk, bro.
All right. Anna and I could keep going, but it's past dinner time here in this house and I haven't heard any noise yet. So I'll take that as a good sign and get my butt going. But that was weird. Sorry. I don't know what happened. Don't you ever do stuff like that and you're like,
I do.
Sorry, Anne. I'm starving. My stomach has been growling this whole time. The whole losing weight thing is not a joke. I wish it was because I'm a hungry girl. I still have only lost my 3 or 4 pounds, but I'm staying at the same spot, which means I'm not gaining weight.
Oh, good.
Is what it is. Hungry though. Really. So anyways, we got lots of stuff. I mean, yeah, no, that's not even a sentence I wanted to say. So guys, don't forget to comment on this episode. You can enter to win a skein of PIK yarn on the MCN base from Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. It's very lovely and pretty. And you'll also get a copy of my brioche ear warmer you'll also get a copy of my brioche ear warmer pattern. It's still in the process, but you'll get it soon, I promise. And yeah, comment, like, subscribe, make sure you're following us. Ayana is apparently like totally all about Twitter. I'm always on Instagram. You can
I
find us
too
on
am on
YouTube.
Instagram, but
Yeah, but you very rarely post on Instagram. You said something about a pair of socks that you thought you posted, and I tried to find them, and they weren't there, and I was sad.
I didn't. Sorry, I will post a pair of socks. I will try to be better about the Instagram. I'll be a good girl.
It's all good. We all have our different things. You're on Twitter, I'm on Instagram.
Hey.
But hey, make sure you join us. Look at how pretty this is in that light. It is pretty yarn. It knits up gorgeously. So comment, like, subscribe, enter to win. We'll see you guys next week.
See you guys then.